You fill up my senses like a night in a forest, like the mountains in springtime, like a walk in the rain, like a storm in the desert, like a sleepy blue ocean. You fill up my senses, come fill me again. Come, let me love you, let me give my life to you. Let me drown in your laughter, let me die in your arms, let me lay down beside you, let me always be with you. Come, let me love you, come love me again. Let me give my life to you. Come, let me love you. Come, love me again. Sing it with me. You fill up my senses like a night in a forest, like the mountains in springtime, like a walk in the rain, like a storm in the desert, like a sleepy blue ocean. Yes, you fill up my senses, come fill me again.
Good afternoon, everyone. And we just got a little data interruption, and the charts will come right back up a moment, or the radars, and we'll give the computer a moment. Could be my computer, could be just a, oops. Okay, so that sometimes we get disconnected from the order execution department at TradeStation. Again, could be my computer. We got a lot running here, and we'll see if we can come back up. I hope so. Should do it automatically. And we just wanted to give you a glimpse. We're not going to be on for no more than an hour, but it's your opportunity to ask us questions. We'll try to punch up where we can, usually in the middle part of the day, and give you a view. And let me just close some workspaces in case it's me. I hope not. I'm not going to rush it. They should reconnect. We hope everyone's having a good trading day, a good trading week. The volatility has been, it's been a volatility crush. So the volatility comes in, and the intraday trading is going to be a little bit more difficult, and for that matter, maybe even some of the swing trading. But we do think the volatility is going to return. Are we going to go back up, on the VIX to 65 or something like that? It's statistically not likely, but you never know. You never know. We're talking to our members about this. I cannot recall ever a situation where the VIX spikes to 65 and then where we got a return volatility crush, the likes of which we've gotten here in the last, 10 days, less than 2 weeks, straight up like this. I can't recall anything like that. And, do you suppose there could have been some political forces at work to make sure that we get the market up a little bit for this week? Can they do that sort of thing? They absolutely can do it, but they can only do it for short bursts, short periods of time. You can't, they got plenty of firepower to do what they want to do for a few days, maybe a little bit more, and they know they got MIT technical folks capable of doing it, but they can't do it forever. That's not going to happen. And we had just stalled out here. Let me go look. Sorry about that. We just came up. Yep, and everything has gone down. I'm going to ask our members, do you guys still have TradeStation up? Has anybody else gone down? If that'd be the case. It could be an exchange feed, or it could be probably my computer. Weird. Sorry. Not much to see. It's our data feed. It is not our internet connection. Isn't that crazy? Right as we went live. What was the timing on that, right? This does not really happen that often, but of late it seems like, but it really doesn't. So we're just going to be patient and see if it'll come back up. I can still, see a little bit, certainly of the chat function. If there's any questions you want to ask us, hopefully we'll have the data feed back up here in a moment. But if you have any questions about who we are, who we are not, if you visited the website and it has sparked a question, we're happy to do that. And we'll show you, and hopefully in a moment, how Swing Machine is positioned here, the middle of the day on Thursday. There we come. Here we come. All right, so we don't want to close that position. Okay, so we're right back up. So we did get ourselves a little pullback. The 5-minute VIX at 10:10 started to go long at 10:10. And if you notice here, the 5-minute ES at what time? 10:10 went short. If you took that signal with a mini contract, you would have been using about $1,800 of capital. And you'd be up 1,300. The NQ 10:10. If you took that trade, you would have been using how much in capital? $1,950. You'd be up 3,200. So you're not up 0.83%. You're up much more than that. You're up over 100% because it's leveraged. The percent return is calculating between the entry price and the current price. It is not calculating the margin. The Dow 10 a.m. went short, you'd be up 635. The Russell, 950 short. Gold short at 715, you'd be up 2 grand. And then oil futures are long, which I would have wanted to do because on a daily basis, they're pretty extended down at 420. And this is running on its own. And I just got a question. Hey, Don, as a student goes through Q School, are they still able to trade futures while taking your course for instruction? Well, you're free to do, a person's free to do whatever they want to do. We would prefer that, so make sure I understand that they are able to trade futures while taking a course for instruction. I'm assuming, it hasn't always been the case, but you don't have to have TradeStation to go through Q School, but it's best that you do. It's best that you do because we can help your learning curve with TradeStation at the same time. And if it is your desire to go through Q School and ultimately get these tools on your desktop, why not learn to see if you like TradeStation as well at the same time? If you are, trading TradeStation for the first time and trading futures for the first time, so you would have to get hooked up with TradeStation, hopefully, and have your own data feeds. We would strongly recommend that during the 3 weeks plus that you trade in a simulated environment. There's no appreciable difference between the real money and trading in sim. We just don't want you to be, so I currently trade, so you currently trade, then I was going to address that. So I currently trade futures and would like to trade outside of trade to keep my income coming in while in school. Well, that would be up to you. I understand that, but the issue there is that there's a lot to learn. There's a lot to learn, and if you have a side account or even another TradeStation account, and you start trading live futures contracts, you're going to be focused on that because you're going to have money on, and you're not going to be focused on the lesson and on the technique. And so I would strongly suggest not. And if a person's, not capable of doing it, because of the, you want to be making money during that time, I get it, but I wouldn't recommend it because you could be, you'll just be distracted. You'll be distracted, and it could be good, a good distraction or a bad distraction, and the whole idea of the 3 weeks is to learn. So I would discourage it. Yep. You just want to block it off. Because I know what would happen, and you would need to be, and you would want to be. I mean, when you're dealing with futures contracts, I mean, a lot can happen in a short period of time. So we're trying to show you something, and you got a trade on, and it's going south, and next thing you know, we're trying to manage, or you're trying to manage those trades, and instead of us taking 3 weeks, maybe we end up having to go longer, or even or not even making it. Getting emotional. So you really have to wait, and we do want you keeping score. You'll be better off for it. The biggest concern we have, in fact, is someone getting, a week or week and a half in and saying, "Oh, the hell with this. I'm going to start trading live, and I'm just going to do it." Now we do have a gentleman, he did not make it. And so, if you're in in this position. I don't think Darian is, but if you are, and you're within the sound of my voice, and I never really knew what happened, but he kind of disappeared on the last week. And I think where he had lost, well, I know he had lost quite a bit of money because he had told me he had. And so we asked him to stay in a simulated environment. And so to learn and, and over time he could make his money back. Well, in the last week of Q School, he disappeared and we thought, maybe something had happened or got hurt or something, and then reached him at the end. And I think, and it didn't work out. He didn't go any further and he was not in a good place. And I think what he thought was that he was going to just sign up for Q School and either he or I was going to get his money back, his 30 grand back in 3 weeks or whatever it was he had lost. That wouldn't be a good idea. I'm not suggesting that at all, because I'm not going to give you the trades. Then you're going to have to trade using the radars. You're going to be using things that you've never even seen before. You're doing fine. Is Swing Machine capable of trading prop accounts? We do have members. I've never traded prop accounts, but we do have members that have and do. So, but the question that may be more to the point is, do you have, wherever you be, do you have TradeStation and do you have access to TradeStation? Because our programs will only work on TradeStation. So depending upon where you are, the question you would want to ask or find out in whatever country you're in, do we have access to the same TradeStation that US citizens have? That's what you want to know. And TradeStation is a multinational company. They're owned by Mitsubishi Bank at last check. And they're all over the world, but they're not available in all countries because, as we're learning, some of us aren't as free as we think, including here in the States. But fortunately, we are still able to trade and still have, some freedoms there. A little tongue in cheek, but I do know that we do have annual members that have TradeStation and have so-called prop trading accounts, but I don't know what the rules are, for those prop trading accounts. Some have rules and I don't know what that is. So hopefully I answer that question. Let me know. And I understand, we've also had some folks that have called and said, Don, I just want to get the programs and I don't even want to do the Q School. I just don't have the time. And we won't go any further. And I understand that, 3 weeks is a lot of time. Now, we're not going to be with you every minute of every day. It's going to be, we would like to be with you for an hour a day, 1 hour. We do want to free you up so that you have an opportunity to trade and to test out your own trading skill and to test out some tools as you go. But, for the person that, that says that, then we would say, it's just, if you don't have the time, you don't have the time. I get it. Don, I followed up with TradeStation on the prop farms. Here's the response. We do not have any formal relationship. Okay, so thank you. We do not have any formal relationship with any prop firms, but if you can find a prop firm to sponsor your trading, they can open an account in the company name. That makes, yeah, they can open they can open an account in the company name. Oh, I see. Maybe that gets them access to the TradeStation better. I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. That's interesting. And we have no affiliation with TradeStation either, by the way, other than just being a very, very happy customer, right? We don't have any affiliation, but now we have other brokerages that I never mentioned. I don't think they hold a candle to TradeStation, but we have others that we use, but we make all of our decisions from the TradeStation platform. Certainly intraday and as well on a swing trade basis. So we can nose around and show you. Let's go to the intraday here. In this is the daily view of Swing Machine on a daily view, and they did get themselves into a long trend, pulling back a little bit today. It may succeed, it may not. I have my doubts. The 240 is a half a day. So all the retail traders are always looking at, I say always, but mostly at daily candles and trying to interpret if we can get inside the daily at 240, we will. So this would have been 51 half days ago, and this is how much you would be up or down. And then, of course, on a 60-minute view, now it's kind of interesting here. We have been long the ES on an hourly basis for 233 hours, which is almost like 2 weeks. I mean, it's a long time here. Notice the 60-minute on the NQ is trying to get short now. Now, what we don't know is it going to confirm? The VIX has been long for 47 hours. That's kind of interesting. And if this goes short and the others, we don't know. Could it be short for another 2 weeks? You just one never knows. So let's go back over here, and it's getting a question about Ceres. The question is, Warren Buffett bought 96 million shares of Ceres on August 15th. So let's go look at Ceres. And we'll let that load in. It's going to load in on a 5-minute basis. We'll let that. Do I have the symbol right? I think so. I've never loaded it in. Let me put it on a daily. Oops, we'll see if that loads in here. It'll take a minute. When you load something for the very first time, sometimes, it may take a little bit longer. It's not, none of the information is in my cache. So we'll just let that load. Hopefully it'll come up here not too long. It usually comes right up, but I got quite a few work spaces and desktops open. We'll wait for it. While that's doing that, we can slide over and take a peek at the Renko chart. And this is a Renko chart on the S&P. And we can see this was the old high. Let's get this pushed up in here, right there. When we were up here the first time, the VIX was at about 13. Then we had that correction. This goes back into August. Well, this would have been down in here when they were panicking out, and the VIX spiked to like 65. And this was like between like August 4th, 5th, and 6th. It was right in here. And then we started to bounce out. And then we had this ramp right into a political convention. Any coincidence? Never know. And but here we are. So we also got some Fibonacci's here so we can follow. We've just had this little pullback. If it pulls back shallow, and doesn't take out this swing, then it may be just an opportunity to do what? To get long, and she may spring again. She could. And if she gets above this level, there could be a lot more short covering. But she needs to test this out, needs to test out this swing point. The Fibonacci retracement from here to here is this big yellow line. The Fibonacci retracement from here to here, and this is the focal point, is right here. This was the area that we thought that we would bounce to. And we get up there, we hit our head, we came off, and that may have trapped a lot of people, because we certainly thought in here that we were going. But then she pivoted, and then as she came back up and she got into this zone, we needed it to stop. It didn't. And then, she ramps out. So you would have had to, have your discipline of what you're going to do. Now, as we look at this run, it would be normal for this thing to pull back 50%. And what is 50% of this run? Right here. So the DMZ, the demilitarized zone, actually it's going to be a battle, is right in here at about 54.20, 54.25. If this thing can get back here, if it doesn't and keeps pivoting higher, it can certainly do it. But ultimately, we'll see that. Let's go back and see if we see Siri. Why isn't Siri loading? But I don't know. Oh, okay, there it is. Let's let it. It'll take a minute to populate. Is Siri, I'm assuming is that still Sirius Radio? Is that what that is? It used to be, I think, what, Sirius Radio? It's taking a little while for it to populate. We'll look at it technically. Warren Buffett loves businesses, subscription businesses, home insurance. He does love that stuff, so I can maybe understand it. For me, from an investment standpoint, it isn't anything I would ever invest in, for me. But I'm not challenging Warren Buffett. He's got a lot more money and a lot more brains and everything than me. But I would want I want a company that is in a leading industry. Yeah, I mean, but that would be an investment, right? But it wouldn't hit my criteria for an investment. I mean, if it is in fact terrestrial radio, unless they're doing something that I'm not, but I'm going to be looking for an industry that is leading. I'm going to be looking for a company that's leading in that industry. I'm going to want to see new products. I'm going to want to see increasing revenues. I'm going to want to see increasing earnings. I'm going to want to see great management. I'm going to want to see I'm going to want to see a lot of things. And I just don't think I'm going to see that fundamentally in there, but I'm trying to even see technically where we are on Siri, and she's just taking her sweet ass time to load. So, there it is. All right. So on a daily basis, so I wouldn't, even on a trade, as a daily trade, I wouldn't buy it yet. So if I had something like this and I thought like, okay, maybe I can get on as coattails for a little bit and trade it. But she's 14 days ago, she shorted at 301. She is underwater, almost 4.5%, but I would wait until she got long, and then I would buy it. So I'd wait on a daily, even as a trade. On a weekly basis, let's throw it into a weekly. This was more, she's been short for 26 weeks at 427. Now, I would never short a $4 or $5 stock. I never. Not even for 5 minutes. I wouldn't. I don't even, and I generally don't even short anything under 20. And, I just don't want to do it. So I wouldn't have wanted to short, but I wouldn't be long either. So I wouldn't get it. And then on a monthly basis, let's just throw it into a monthly. And she's been short for 19 months at 439. But if you have hundreds of millions of dollars and you're looking and saying something and he's pouring in, he bought 90 million shares. Yeah, I think he said, what's how much he buy? 100 million shares. It's $300 million. That's a drop in the bucket for him. And what he probably will do. Now, one of the things that Warren Buffett does that he doesn't really advertise or tell anybody, and he'll also get some of these sweetheart deals. Maybe they need an infusion, but he sells covered calls like crazy. So he may not sell stock, but he may have come in with 300 million and gone up to 350 or something, or 325, and sold a shitload of covered calls. And then after he sells the covered calls, then he, makes public his investment, and everybody piles in, and, he makes a nice fat trade. But he does sell covered calls. But I wouldn't, even as a trader, I wouldn't be buying it. But, everybody's welcome to do what they want to do. But as an example, that's what we would do, right? And so like if you see something from Roaring Kitty or Reddit, that's what I would first look at. I'd plug it in a swing machine. If it's something I'm thinking about making an investment, if it's something that was a leading industry, a leading stock in that industry, a whole lot of new products, expanding revenues, expanding profits, really good management, a lot of new products to come out, has institutional sponsorship, that sort of thing. And I'm thinking about, and I'm being like, okay, then maybe I start to average into it on a longer term. Let's go look at the options club selector. So we can come over here and see what's going on in the option world. And we have a radar for selecting options. And do we have any? We have a suggested, please don't take this trade, but as an example, you can put it down on paper. We're getting a suggestion to buy a call on Ben Franklin. Don't know anything about him, but it will be over 30 to 35 days. Now, whether or not you buy a call, don't have to, depends on where you want to do it, how far out you want to go. But you could also, you could sell a put credit spread, further down on the delta. So if we're getting a call at 20, you sell a puts credit spread, if you can get it, at 18 or 17, something like that would be an idea. But this is where we'll get them. And then over here, well, it's kind of weird. We don't have anything in Euphoria. Wow. Nothing in Euphoria. Holy smokes. So there wasn't that much. So we had a pretty good bounce. I think we were just so overdone, in the market, and then we got that vicious bounce. But we don't really have anything in Euphoria, which tells me the market isn't nearly as strong. And when we go back and look at even this Renko chart, what I was going to finish is when we were up here, the VIX was at 13. We're back up here, almost to the old high, but not quite. And the VIX is at 16 to 17. You get some divergence there. So I don't think the market is nearly as enthusiastic here as it was over here. So we should see. And I want to see the first step is let's stop making new highs. Let's come on back and let's take out that swing and get in here. Then if we bounce, we're saying to our members, we bounce, then we get a C point down. We would like to get some of these C point downs. Same thing when you do something like here, you can certainly make money on that trade, but you'll make more money if you wait, get the C point, then enter, then come down, and maybe you're in it for a longer period of time. Now, all kinds of noise about what the Fed is going to say and what the Fed is going to do. The central planners, the hoi polloi, the academics, they're out in Jackson Hole. I'm envious. They're out there eating great steak and shrimp and on the Barbie and going fly fishing and going hiking and horseback riding and presenting papers in the morning and stroking each other's egos and just a bunch of swells. And there'll be job owning. Stan Powell is going to be saying something tomorrow, and everyone wants a hint of what he's going to say and what he's going to do in September. And we don't add to it. I don't really, they're around all the time now. They always were, but now it's it's almost commonplace. He's probably going to have to cut. I think the market is forcing him to do that. And, but I think it's only going to be a quarter, and I don't think it's going to do much of anything. I think how would I put it? It's baked in the cake. I think we're in recession now, and I think it'll manifest itself no matter who gets into the office in a very short period of time. And very, very similar to 08, very similar. We had a housing crisis, then we didn't have a housing crisis, if you recall. Schumer was helping to spread the fear in the market. I remember him spreading the fear in June or July. Just imagine, we got an election coming up in 08, and he's talking about banks going out of business, and he just, poured, it's just gaslighting it. And we had a pullback very similar to this, and then it went away. And then we had the election, and Obama came in, and then shortly right after that, the market took its dumper. And I'm not going to say that that's going to follow the course, but they have a tendency to repeat their patterns sometimes. And was late October to March 5th or 6th of 2009, and the market just got smoked. And of course, then they launched, that really was the launch of, folks want to talk Marxist socialism, central bank. That was where they launched it. And with the QE. And we're 14, 15, 16 years into this debacle, all built on debt. That's where it launched. Now, I'm not going to put it all at his feet. The central bankers, the bankers, they're calling the shots. I mean, it enriched them. They're in a good place. It enriched all of them. And that's what happens. Then the people get left with the aftermath of the inflation. Would they do it again? I think they probably would have to. But they could run into a ceiling. I mean, if automobiles, go from the average car costing you 40 grand goes to 80 grand. You got to remember when it comes to even inflation, if you have it, there's the old rule of 72, right? So if you have an interest rate, let's just say you get an interest rate of 10%. You invest your money and you're getting an interest, which is unheard of, but an interest of 10%. You divide that by 72. It's going to take you 7.2 years to double your money. But it's also true that if you have an inflation rate of 10%, your purchasing power is going to be cut in half in 7.2 years. So if you're being sold a bill of goods about work, 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 and save, 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 and in, 30 years, you're going to have $1 million. Well, in what terms, right? If you have an inflation rate, that is having your purchasing power every, so many years, I mean, you gotta factor that in. Otherwise, you'd just be working until you're 90, which is, and then they'll just say, well, that's good for employment, right? That trust me, either side of the aisle, they don't give a shit about any of those people in the audience. Did you see, by the way, it was maybe, I don't trust it, but Cuomo, in a moment of Chris Cuomo, in a moment of frankness, talking about the skyboxes at the DNC, the hoi polloi, filled, cost them $500,000 million, and they're up there, eating shrimp and everything and hobnobbing, and that's what they do, looking down on all the little people down there. You think they give a crap about any of those people? Republicans, same way. They don't give a crap. What they do give a crap about is being able to sell influence so they can maintain those Nantucket and Hawaii homes, or the homes in Maine, in the homes in West Palm, especially if those people have no discernible skills. Trump is a billionaire, but you know what? He's always going to be a billionaire. I'm not saying anything one way or the other, but did he have some seed capital to start with? Sure, but but he's got a Midas touch, and he's going to be fine. He doesn't need, but the others, they need it. They need that influence to be able to sell. The Bidens of the world. That family doesn't have, maybe they do, to take that family out 2 or 3 more generations. I don't think so. Any questions on the market? Do you want us to plug anything in? Let us know. And let's take a peek. We can look at the NASDAQ 100. Oops, that one there is, we're having a little issue with that workspace. Let's see if we don't. And here we go. Here is the S&P, and all 500 stocks through the eyes of Swing Machine, and the top stock is Goldman Sachs, believe it or not. Kind of moved up there. I thought it was going to be GE. Goldman Sachs long 199 days ago, up 54% if you had bought it at 323.95. Government Sachs, one of the only buildings headquartered in Manhattan that doesn't have a sign on its building. Not by accident. Probably doesn't have a sign on any of their buildings around the world. 3M, 48%. This is Colgate-Palmolive, a big defensive company, up 40%. Intel has been short for 21 days. Could have saved yourself 33%. An aggressive trader could have made 33%. So this is where we're going to come to get our trading ideas, and where we're going to plug them in. We got, let's see, we got Apple. Apple's been long for 77 days. Swing Machine would have bought it at 183.38, up 23%. What is Bro? Brown and Brown, 76 days, up 23%. AP. Yeah, AP, you want to visit the website. We have a website, stockmarketcaddy.com. You want to visit that. We explain the membership in detail. It's basically, so I won't take the time here to do it, but we basically have a monthly membership where you get to see a video view of all of our algos every night. And then we have an annual membership whereby you get all of the proprietary tools that we have provided you're using TradeStation. TradeStation is available in the Netherlands. It can also talk out trade activity through email or NTA, for example. Okay, well, that's good. That would be good. This is Arthur Gallagher. I'm not even Charter Communications, long 47 days ago, and dipping. This is Align Dental, and it's been short. It's ripping, but it's been short for 80 days. If you had shorted it, you'd be up 18%. If you had got out of it, you would have saved your account an 18% drawdown, right? You don't have to short. Now, this may sound kind of like heresy as a trader. I'm a trader, and we buy and sell, sell and buy, and we love to short. As a general statement, retail traders probably should not short any stock. And that may sound like heresy, but you probably shouldn't. If you don't have, a skill set and expectation. It is not a fair fight. It just isn't. The bias is always to the upside. That doesn't mean it's always going to make new highs. Doesn't mean that it's always going to go up. I don't mean to imply that, but you could be hurt shorting stock. It's a loaded game against you. Now, we do short, but we will use, options. So what you might want to know as you're watching this, there are 500 stocks here, and we're long and short on all of them. And this is the percent return, which is the difference between the entry price, and you can see the date, and what it's trading at now. This gives us the trend information. We're not using moving averages, and this also gives us the fear gauge, which we do use when it comes to especially trading options. We could be in the stock, and we may also, like Buffett, want to sell covered calls. So we got something like Walmart. It's kind of crazy, right? This is Walmart. 162 days ago, if you bought Walmart at 53, you're up 42%. The trend is intact, but we're pushing 80. We're almost pushing into euphoria. I might want to, if I owned or was invested in Walmart, I might want to sell some covered calls. I might go up to 80 and sell them, or I might even sell them at 71 for 2 or 3 months and collect the call money. If it gets called away from me, it gets called away. If it doesn't, pulls back, then I still got insurance. A couple ways to look at as an example. But if you don't know how to sell covered calls or don't understand, then you need to learn that sort of thing, because you want to be diversified in not what you own, but diversified in what you're capable of doing. Now, I'm going to scroll down. So I'm going to scroll down. We're going to do this fast. Don't let me make you dizzy. And I'm going to go all the way down, and let's see out of how many stocks are we. Well, that's really weird. This is, this is S&P. That is really, really unusual. So we got a really low rating here. No, I'm sorry. It's like, that's not right. All right, so I'm having some issues. You can see this data here is not loading. So I apologize. The computer, you see the computer? She's not loading. And Goldman Sachs may not very well be the top one. So I apologize for that. I noticed even over here, what's happening is our computers run overnight, and quite frankly, I got too much running. Let me see if I can refresh and get all 500. Normally, we'll be profitable. So I'm going to scroll down. I won't. And it's like, that's not right at all. Okay, so we got all these others that the data is just not loading. So I'm going to try to refresh. So I got to highlight all these and then just push Control R and see if we refresh. You really should, for our members too, shut your computer off at least for 5 or 10 minutes each day and let them reset. And I did not do that overnight. And so then I come in like this, and we're start running Zoom and start running other things, and it gets a little unhappy. So I'm sorry. Let me see if I can refresh this. I'll try. So these may be a couple of bad symbols, but all right, so I'm going to give this a chance to reload. I'll go slide it. We'll come back down and look. It'll take a minute or two. Just hit Control R. So we'll scroll back down in a minute, see if it reloads. We want them all. It's trying. Sorry about that. So another tool will come here. This is what we call the Pebble Beach triggers, and the title is, oh shoot, folks, did you hear that? We're getting we just get disconnected from the order execution. Not sure what's doing that. Probably my computer, unusual. But this is a beautiful tool. She's also trying to see, we're having issues with the data feed. It is not a TradeStation issue. It's my issue. So don't. But we'll let this populate. This is one of our original radars that we built, and it reads, for those of you that like to trade candles, it reads the most popular candle formations, and it's very, very good. And these are signals that come through during the course of the day. But right now we're not getting a data feed. So we'll come back to it here in a minute. Let me see if this guy loaded on us. Making you dizzy there. All right, it did load. All right, so let's go back to our example here, and we'll come back. Even though I don't have a live data feed, it's going to come up in a minute. These are daily signals, so even we may be off by a penny or two as we do this, but and our data feed will come up and you'll see the numbers moving. So the top stock of the S&P 500 through the eyes of Swing Machine is actually GE, which is up 88% back from November 8th. If you had put $10,000 in, you'd be up 8,800. And again, you'll see this recalculate once the data stream comes back up. So some of the other top stocks, this is actually WBA. This is a short signal from 151 days ago. So let's say that, your broker called you up 2 years ago and said, you know what, we got to get into Walgreens. They sell drugs and they're on every corner. Of course, they're letting everybody rip them off, but we got to buy Walgreens. And he puts $50,000 into Walgreens. And then you never hear from him again. Well, if you put it into Swing Machine, at least you could have been jogged to call him, because 151 days ago, at 22.17, Swing Machine said to get out, and not just get out, but to short it. Now, if you shorted it with $10,000, you would have made 54%. If you were long and you didn't want to short it and you just got out of it, you would have saved your account, a 54% haircut. So this is where it kind of keeps everybody honest. You don't have to call and ask me, because I'm not going to give you a specific opinion on anything. I'm not a broker. I'm not a financial advisor. We're trying to help you learn to trade your own game, invest your own game. You can still have your brokers and whatever, but at least you have some place to go to get a really good idea as to whether or not you want to keep your money in something. Now, as far as Walgreens goes, maybe at some point she's going to bottom out and you want to buy it with Warren Buffett at $3 or $4 a share, maybe. So it's nothing wrong with keeping the shorts in close view, because they will ultimately, unless they're going out of business, they'll ultimately come out. This is Dexcom, also another short. But here's Intel. 21 days ago, it went short, Intel, and 33%. So if you're holding that kind of hurt. So what you want to see is what I started out. and we're still not getting any data. I'm going to ask our members, are you guys getting data interruptions on trade? Let me know. Sometimes the exchange can do that. So we're going to scroll down, and out of 500 stocks, you can see the percentage return, right? We're green, we're up. So what I want to show you is how many stocks are we profitable in? And let's keep going. We're green, right? Green, green, green. Now they're red and green over here because they could be long or short, but in percentage return, we're green. That's what I mean by green. We're profitable. So keep going. It's getting narrow down here. I give you that. Okay, so out of 500 stocks, we're profitable in 398, give or take. Now the yellow ones mean that we're even. Now the red, yes. So out of 500, and normally we're around 440, 450 profitable in, but we're at 400. But so we don't get them all right. But the percentage down, let's keep going. What is the worst one? Let's go to 5. 17% is the worst one, and that's Newell, which is like a Rubbermaid, right? This would be another one. This could be, and it's kind of interesting too. It went long at 891, right? And she's down. So this would be one that I would be interested in, right? Not so much for an investment, but I would come into something like that and maybe put in a block of money at 734 where it's trading, and sell calls against it, like at $8 for 45 or 50 days. Do something like that as an idea. So I can't believe we're not getting our feed. Sorry. Let's see if we can get this guy to. Yeah, we're just not moving. It could be that I've got too many things open. And I apologize. So I'm going to see if we can reconnect and give you an opportunity to see where we are here. Going to reload. I hope. Here she comes. So we are and by the way, for folks who don't know, I just feel an obligation to tell you who I am not. I am not from Wall Street. I'm not from Madison Avenue. I'm not, thank goodness, from the financial industry. We haven't been doing this for 6 months or 6 years. We've been doing this a long time. I come from a medical background. For 25 years, I taught surgeons how to work with the most advanced surgical instruments of the day. My wife, Susan, worked for IBM, Lotus Software back in the day. And shortly after the 2000s, Susan and I would, knock on wood, had a beautiful life, fortunate life, and decided in the early 2000s the technology was there for us to take control over our own destiny, and we did not want to be beholden to anyone. And Stock Market Caddy, that's so we started much of this for ourselves. Never a thought of Stock Market Caddy, never a thought, not even. It was purely for ourselves. And it was in 2012 when Twitter was coming out of the ground. I thought, I wonder, Susie, if there are folks out there that could benefit from what we've learned and benefit from some of our tools. And that's, in the short, how it came about. And if you go, it's kind of interesting now. We made a little video of this. If you go back 2 or 3 videos, we asked Grok on Twitter, who is stockmarketcaddy.com? And their AI function. And in the span of like 1 minute, just started printing some stuff out. I'm like kind of holding my breath. And I was shocked. It was pretty damn accurate. about who we are, what we're about. We didn't write it. Twitter wrote it, or their AI function. Had when we started, had even, now we did edit out some of the cost information because I thought it could be it might get dated, but they even had that right, but they had a lot of it very, very right. And but that's where that came from. If you have an individual stock while we're here, if you have any individual stocks and you want us to plug it in, feel free. I'm happy to do that. Right. And we can get a real-time view. So if you got a stock, you got a market, and you want to see how would Swing Machine be positioned on it, we're happy to show you. So you let me know. Now wait, you're on a bit of a delay. And I'll just kind of highlight here while we wait. Here, we do keep a very tight eye on the VIX. And now, I do want to describe this. Now, our members, so the monthly membership gets you a view of all of our algos at night on a video. It does not get you an intraday view of this, and it doesn't get you these tools on your desktop. So the monthly membership is more geared to SMC, stock market accounting, is what that stands for. So the monthly membership is more geared for swing traders that are looking for objective opportunities to do their swing trading. And if you're swing trading, you probably shouldn't be paying attention to the intraday traffic unless you're exiting out, trying to control a loss or maximize a profit at the end. If you have the time, the capital, and the interest and the passion, and you want to trade intraday, then yeah, you want to trade intraday. And at that point, you want to become an annual member. You become an annual member, you get all of these tools on your desktop if you have TradeStation. So that's how we break that out. Let's just go and look. We trade, so it's good that you trade futures. Not many Americans do. Less than 9% of the retail crowd trade futures. Why do we trade futures? Do we need to have TradeStation if we become an annual member, if we want to have your tools on our Mac? Yes. All right. So let me I'll address that question too. So we lost my train of thought. Oh, futures, a Biden moment. We trade futures intraday because we want to have liquidity, we want access, market access, and we want to be able to trade algorithmically. And futures enable us to do that. We don't have to deal with any of the Greeks. It's beautiful. No problem. I'm going to answer your question, Dinesh. No problem. When we trade out a few days, a few weeks, or a few months, we're going to define our risk and use options for the most part. And if we get ourselves trapped in a position with options, which we sometimes do, we will use futures to hedge them. Right. So that's beautiful, right? You get trapped after hours and you know how to use futures. So we trade futures and options all the time. We're trading mostly futures and some options. And our options are pretty vanilla. We're doing defined risk stuff. We're not trading them algorithmically actively, but we are using algos to get them. Options are all math. They're all math. And they're usually almost always counter trends. Futures, where we can counter trend, but we prefer to trend. If that makes sense. But we do invest. That would be something for more than a year. We're just not very invested now. And when we invest for years to come, we will do a fundamental analysis as well as technical. And we will cover that. We cover that in the Q School too. We do have a Q School. You can't become an annual member unless you go through the Q School. And it does slow the process down, but we need to do that. We need to make sure, you need to make sure that this is something you want to do, and you have an opportunity, hopefully if you have TradeStation, to work with the tools and then answer your question over a 3-week period, where is your profit factor and what this can do for you. So you have questions on that. Do we need to have TradeStation if we become an annual member? The answer to that is yes, because our programs, we have over 70 programs, 70, all kinds of tools in all these radars. They only work on TradeStation, right? Because the reason why we went to TradeStation is so that we could, program specifically, not just plug and play, but to program. That makes sense. Changing platforms can be a hassle. I get it. But if you're going to go through the Q School, at least get yourself I would get yourself at least a trial on TradeStation. So when you go through Q School, we know TradeStation really well. Their support is phenomenal. Their education is phenomenal. But we can really augment and really expedite your learning curve on TradeStation during the Q School. So then you get a chance, like, do I really want to use this thing called TradeStation, and do I really want to use their tools before you go ahead? By the way, the Q School is a one-time thing. You never have to do it again. And then what we do for annual members who return, every year that you come back, we will give you 1 month free for the first year, 1 month free for the second year going forward. And we will do that up to the 5th month, whereby you, in essence, have cut the annual membership, which is the annual membership is $3,500. And we have members that have done this. Their annual membership is $1,700, $1,750, because they have been with us so long. And now I want to show you as an example. This is going to be real time, and our members are listening to this now. They have not all our members come. We're not running a trading room, right? I don't like trading rooms, but they know where to reach us. And many don't even come in because they have everything on their desktop and they just want to do their own thing. But I want to show you something here. Let me see if I can bring this up. This is called the Nicholas timing model. It's running a sophisticated algo on a chart. There's nothing to point at. There's no moving averages. There's none of that. It takes in 3 different data streams. The underlying data of the market, let's just talk about the ES, the underlying data of the VIX, and the underlying data of the 10-year Treasury on these. It also has the Nicholas, a component we call the VIX daily component. And what we want to see the markets all long, and we want to see the VIX short. All right. Now, I have members listening, so they could be on YouTube, they could be in the Zoom room. So this is not bullshit. This is what happened. Back on August 8th, if you remember, the markets were selling down and we were completely short, and the VIX we want it in the opposite direction. The VIX was long on October 7th. That signal, that short signal, was up a high watermark of 75 grand. On August 8th, the VIX went short and we were short. I told all of our members that we had an inflection point. The nightly video went to yellow, code yellow. We're not long, we're not short. We got an inflection point. And what we know is that within 72 hours, usually not more, 72 hours, one of 2 things was going to happen. The VIX was going to go long again, and we were going to break down, and the shorts were going to continue. or the VIX was not giving us a feint, was giving us a warning, and the markets were going to go long within 72 hours, most likely the next day. The next day, because this happened on August 8th, the markets did in fact go long. And if you had taken that long signal back on August 8th, yes, you'd be, and we had a high watermark. We're off the high watermark today, but we had a high watermark of about 55,000. So the short signal before this long signal, we had a high watermark of 75,000. This one, we had a high watermark of 55,000. Last night, the VIX went long, and we're long. Same message to our members. Code yellow. We're now at an inflection point. Within 72 hours, something's going to happen. The warning on the VIX is going to dissipate and just have been a feint and go short, and we're going to continue higher. Or the VIX is warning and the markets are going to roll short within 72 hours, most likely today, but we'll see, and we're going to go the other way. What I don't know when the signal comes in, what I don't know, and we don't get into this, I don't know how long the signal is going to last. It could be a few days, could be a few weeks. We don't know. We have to just stay in gear. It measures what we call market acoustics, and it's not a trend. Swing Machine is seeking trend. This is not. It's measuring market acoustics, and it's very, very good. Now, if you're a futures trader, to put this trade on overnight takes quite a bit of capital and a lot of chutzpah, which I wouldn't recommend or suggest for anyone new, right? Because it's big. It's a big, big trade these days. But there are a number of ways to participate. You don't have to, you could just use one mini. You don't have to use multiple minis. You could use micros. You could use options. And we do have monthly members that every time this signal comes in, they get options and go. And they do very, very well. They have done well, but I can't promise you an outcome either. We can't. We back tested this. It has done very well since 08. Between 2000 and we only went back to 2000. Between 2000 and 2008, it sucked. But since 08, it's done very well. Why is that? Is somebody targeting interest rates? Is somebody targeting the VIX? Maybe, right? And that's why we made the decision to go here, because I was reading years ago about how Greenspan, the first thing he looked at was the yield on the 10-year Treasury. And I'm like, I wonder what that son of a bitch knew or what he's doing. So Susan's really good and wrote math, algos to do it. And that's what it does. But we can come back to Swing Machine. And as an example, now Swing Machine is, okay, so the intraday, I want actually the hourly. All right, so we're losing the hour. So it's kind of too bad, but that's all right. The hourly signal on the ES had been long, just 2 hours. It's just gone short in the last 2 hours. What I don't know is, I don't know how long that's going to be short. It might be a few hours. We got other tools to look at. You can put them on charts. You can, the signal before this was long, and it was long for almost 2 weeks. It was up 15,000. The NQ had been long for also 2 weeks, and it was up like 30,000. It was absurd. So we're really, really good at the signals. They're very good, but this tool, or these tools, act like a fish finder, and it's your job to get the fish to the boat, in the boat, and on a stringer. And if you're making decisions purely on the money, of greed and fear, you might fall in the lake. Okay. You've got to keep, you can't be, you can't be screaming and yelling when you're trout fishing on a beautiful river, and you catch a fish and you start screaming and yelling, I got a fish, I got a fish, I got a fish. As Susan did the very first time she caught a trout, and that was okay, but we didn't catch any more fish because they were all gone at that point. I'm joking, right? But you've got to keep your emotions in check. And that's what we work on during the Q School. There are very specific steps that you can take. And we take our time to explain them. Then it's up to you to adopt them and not adopt them. Make sense? So our members, if I was to show you, they have their own website. Let me go get it. And I'll show you what it looks like. SMC, see if I can get in there. It's called smcproshop.com. That's a member's website. And I don't know if I can get in. I got to see what it looks like. Yeah. All right. So let me bring this over. All right. And let me blow this up. So this is where you would come at night to get the video. Now, do you see the yellow? And here was the message in the video. So we cautioned them last night. Now I'm going to show you August 20th, we're green, we're green, we're green. I don't want to make everybody dizzy. August 8th was another caution. That was the time to get long, right? You would have been long all this time. And before August 8th, we were red, red, red. I mean, it's there. And before August 1, we were green, a little oscillation, but we were mostly short in that period. That's where they're getting it. You still need trading skill, though. I just don't know what kind of skill you have as a monthly member. And unfortunately, I can't spend the time with every monthly member, to make sure that they, have a good basis or a good foundation. We do with the Q School. When you're in the Q School, your education takes precedent over my own trading, where I'm going to work as hard, if not harder than you. And I can say that because we do. Makes sense? We want you to learn to trade your game, not mine, not anyone else's, not the hockey captain in Connecticut, that dude, or any of the others, yours. In the privacy of your own home, your own office, it's your capital, it's your money, it's your time. You define the risk, you define what you want to do. But if you want to shadow this or that, or this news, or this Reddit tip, or that Reddit tip, I mean, you can do that if you want, but boy, I would come in and plug it in and try to make my decisions from here. I think it isn't that you're going to win. Nothing is going to win every single time. We're not presenting these tools as a holy grail. You're going to win every time. There is not a Bible code to the market. There isn't. The holy grail is you. It's you. You just need really good tools, a really good education. And we're going to try to make you aware of the things that we think you need to be aware of. You may be some behavior changes you need to make. There may not be. You may be very, very close. I'm going to ask you, I'm not going to take the time now because we got to break away. We're only come up for an hour, but do you know what profit factor is? Do you know what your profit factor was for last week, last month, last year? If you don't know what to work on. And you're not even keeping score, right? The gentleman in Germany who's been with us now for over several years, been with us a long time, David, he's had profit factors for a week of over 80 or 100. Just a few weeks ago, even though he's been with us as long, he's like, Don, I had the best week ever. You know, he's really, really good. As a monthly member, are you providing information on where the market will go the next day? We're providing you market insight, right? So if Nicholas is the tool that we lead off on, and we color code it red and green. Where the market might go the next day is a 50-50 proposition. If you buy a call or a put at where the market closes on any given day, the delta, and you do it for one day, the delta for the next day is 50-50. That it's either going to close up or down. So no, we're not a subscription service that are going to tell you. I had one person ask me, and I get it, and I'm totally okay with the question. Can you just tell me, Don, what the market's going to do tomorrow? No. And if anyone tells you that, you should run. Because no, I can't tell you where the market's going to be tomorrow. We can speak in terms of probabilities. You might say, well, if you can't tell me where the market's going to be tomorrow, then how can, why this or why should I do it? Part of this is that you don't know yet what you don't know. So we'll come back and let me show you. This is a view of the ES on a daily. This is a view of the ES on a 240. This is a view of the ES on a 60-minute. Okay. You can drill this down to the tick level. So when you ask me or you ask anybody, what is going to happen tomorrow? Well, Swing Machine is saying on a daily basis, the trend is long, and it's been long for 5 days. Now, we could be down for a couple of days, but the trend is still intact. It is still intact. Now, before this 5th day of long, Swing Machine was in a short, and it got caught on that trend, on that bounce that we had. Right? It did. But if you had this tool in front of you, what you could have done, and what we had members do is the hourly. Swing Machine was short on a daily, but on the hourly, it had gone long. And it was long for almost 2 weeks on an hourly. So the NQ on a daily got caught short, and it had a drawdown of $12,000. But do you know that the NQ hourly was up $35,000? Well, Don, how can I be long and short the same thing? You can. Did you know that? Did you know that you could be short the NQ and you could have been long 10 micros? Don, why would I want to be long and short the same market? Another good question. Because you're a hedger. You're running your own hedge fund. Not publicly running, soliciting funds. You're hedging. Hedge funds hedge. We hedge. We hedge our bets. Retail go pick one stock, take their entire IRA and plow it into one stock and hope that it goes up. That's reckless. We hedge. When you do spreads on options, you're both long and short at the same time. Why do you do that? To reduce the cost, to reduce the volatility in your account. We can do the same thing with futures, but you need to learn, right? And we can't. Why we do that, right? So these sessions that we do on YouTube, these are really good questions, but we're just trying to make you aware of maybe some things you don't know, right? And that's all. That's how you go about learning anything, learning something you don't know. And they're like, oh shit, I didn't know I could do that. And then we can even hedge using options as well. I mean, maybe you bought a put option back on August 8th. And maybe you put $10,000. You thought the market was going to super crash. And you put $10,000 into a put option. And you watch that thing erode, and now you're down 10 grand. You could have come into a futures market and bought a futures contract off the hourly and hedged it. You could have covered your almost the entire amount or more on the NQ. You could have made even more money. And then you could actually kill the hedge and still be short the market. No shit. Yes, that's what they're doing. They're not all in something. And even Warren Buffett, by the way, if you think Warren Buffett is the end all, and he is the guru, look up Jim Simons. He passed away recently. He started when he was 41 years old. Renaissance Capital. He is the grandfather of what we call quant trading. Blew them away. I think Warren Buffett has like over 30 years. I don't know what the hundreds of percents are, but this guy was in the thousands of percents. And even Warren Buffett's, cohort there, Munger, said that, well, that guy is really, really good when it comes to short-term trading, but not really good when it comes to long-term. Yeah, no shit. He's trading the action intraday. And who cares? I mean, you want to just, I'm the greatest investor of all. I'm not taking anything away from Warren Buffett. Fine. But who is the greatest trader of all? Jim Simons, Renaissance Capital. And it's closed. Now, we're not running Renaissance Capital here. I'm not suggesting that, and I'm not soliciting monies for that. The message there is, you're not too old, you're not too young, you're not too smart, you're not too dumb, you're not too poor, you're not too this. Don't limit yourself. That's my message. Don't limit yourself. When Susan and I started this, nobody wanted to help us. You're on your own. Good. I fired them all. We had done fine. Don't get me wrong. I don't want to mention the firms. I mean, we had a number of them. They had big corner offices and everything else. They were awful. They still got their corner offices. Just awful. So, any case, and when we love options, this is a radar. Gives us the expected move radar of options. So on the SPY, on a 1 day, the expected move is about 0.91%. That's pretty sweet, but we can go out 10 days, 15, 30 days, so we can, and in fact, we can plug in something, an increment, any increment. So you want to know, for instance, what's going to happen tomorrow, what stocks of the S&P 500 are expected to make the biggest percentage move tomorrow. Juniper, these stocks. Now, could be earnings. I don't know, but there's something embedded. I can't give you the direction. Could be up, could be down. But this is coming from the options market itself. These are the stocks that are going to make the biggest move tomorrow. My guess is Juniper has earnings. Then you could go and plug in Juniper, which we can do in a moment if you want. We could go out 15 days. Don, I want to know over the next 15 days what stocks are going to, what is going on with Juniper? Something's going on with Juniper, right? She's expected to make some big move. Could be up, could be down. So maybe we come in and let's just go here for a minute. Let's just plug in Juniper, JNPR as an example. And you can copy and paste, dozens of these. Now let's put Juniper on a weekly basis. Let's first see what the investors see. All right, now Juniper is not up $8. It's up 8 points. The purse is set for contracts. I can change. I want you to see this. I'm going to change. By the way, if you had gone long Juniper with Swing Machine 34 weeks ago, you would have bought it at $29.91, and you'd be up almost 30%. If you want to know, let me show you what we can do here for stocks. We color code our radars green for futures and blue for stocks, so we don't get confused. We don't mix the two, but I'm doing it here to save time. We can come here and I can change this to false. Oops. And I can put it on stocks. And then how much you can set number of shares or amount of money. So we'll say it was a $10,000. So now what's going to happen is here, Juniper on a weekly, if you had put $10,000 into Juniper 34 weeks ago at 4 p.m. on January 5th, yep, you're up 30%. I can also tell that the weekly trend is beautiful. I don't even need to see a chart. If you get vertigo, I mean, this business is going from chart to chart to chart, drawing moving averages, stochastics, MACDs. Good God, it's a waste of time. I mean, my word, drive you to drink. But I can also see on the fear gauge, she's getting pretty up there on a weekly. Maybe I should sell some calls at 37, for a couple of months, let her come in and I'll collect that call money and I'll still own Juniper. But let's look at Juniper on a daily. I'm intrigued with Juniper because she's showing up in the options market. On a daily, she went long 53 days ago and she's up 9%. And she's only in the middle. I don't know. Somebody's going to have to check Juniper for me. She got earnings coming up. I wouldn't bet against it. I wouldn't bet against Juniper. And if I was going to play it, we like spreads. So maybe I sell a put credit spread. I don't try to swing for the fence. I usually like to do options after earnings, but Juniper looks like she's got something coming out. So write it down, put it on paper, don't trade it, don't put any money on it. I just show you as an example of how we go about doing our work. And we do those nightly videos, not just for our members, but for ourselves, right? We do all this ourselves, right? We just take a video of what we're doing and then we just share it with everybody. And then you're free to do what you want to do. You don't even have to watch the videos. But does that make sense? But that is a beautiful thing. We'll put this back to ES. Now I'm going to have to change back to futures because this isn't going to calculate the purse correctly. And I'm going to change this to 1 minute. By the way, if you wanted to change this to a tick, we have members that say, you know what, Don, I don't think a 1 minute makes much sense. I think I should use a tick level. And in this case, it would be transactions. So we have some members that say, you know what, I'm going to use 800 ticks to mimic 800 transactions. And that, quite frankly, might be more meaningful. But we got to change. You're like, oh, it's only up $16. No, we got to put the margin back in there. So we come back to our tool. We turn off the stock feature. It's not scanning stocks. It's scanning futures. And we set that to true. And so yes, 800 ticks ago, 800 transactions at 129 today, which was just 26 minutes ago, and you'd be up, $400. But I'm going to put it back to 1 minute. Now, the other piece is, and I'm kind of, we love to show the baby. All of this can be put onto a chart. And TradeStation now enables and empowers you to let the machine enter and exit on its own, autonomously. The others won't let you do it. Not everyone does. We can also program, for instance, only take 1 minute trades in the direction of the 5, or only take the 5 in the direction of the 1 hour. We can also program, if the VIX is long, I want you to sell the S&P. Well, that'd be kind of cool. We can also measure the backtest. But Don, I thought you said what happens in the past may or may not happen in the future. Yeah, exactly right. Models are models. Then why do you backtest? So that we know when we're performing in line with the model and when we're not, so that we can make adjustments. Oh, but we have to show you. So there's a lot here. Can you do this? Yes. How many lines of code is in Swing Machine? Over 800. How long did it take Susan and I to work on this? Months? Years? Could you build your own? I suppose, of some kind. You have to have TradeStation to get a radar, but we don't use moving averages. We don't use stochastics. We don't use MACDs. Why? Because we backtested that shit and that shit don't work. I'm sorry, it just doesn't work. It's an optical illusion. Doesn't work. I kind of rambled on. I like showing the baby, but so what I can't tell you is what your outcome is going to be at the end of the Q school. What I can tell you is that I know that you're going to learn a lot. You're going to learn a ton. And you're never going to, for better or for worse, you're never going to look at the markets the same way again. You're not. For better or for worse. But you're also going to have answered that question, whether or not these tools will help you. You will answer it by the end of the 3rd week, you'll know. And then from there, the biggest concern that we have is that you stay disciplined, patient, and humble, and don't leverage up too soon. Don't get too greedy, right? You got to stay trading within yourself, and we review that as well. That makes sense. All right. So, but we're getting a nice pullback. We can come over here and take a look, and that's right here. This is a little Renko chart. By the way, all the writing that's on here is all being done by the computer. This is not me. I didn't write this in here. The Fibonacci's were drawn by me. But the swing points that you see here, these little green dots and the little red dots, all these little here, each brick, by the way, each brick is $1,000. Our machine draws this green. All right, I'm going to let you watch, and I'm going to have to take a break, but I want to show you this. This dot gets drawn when this brick gets completed. So you tell me, you could have entered right here. Could you have made 1 brick? Yes. Could you have made 1 brick? 2. Could you have made 1 brick? 3. Could you have made 1 brick? 4. Could you have made 1 brick? 5. Could you have made 1 brick? 6. Could you have made 1 brick? 7. Could you have made 1 brick? 8. Could you have made 1 brick? 9. 9 trades, $9,000. Now, this isn't keeping track of time. This is over, weeks or months here. There's a long time here. The biggest frustration you would have had was you would have been leaving a shitload of money on the table going after just 1 brick. But maybe that's what you got to do to learn. The biggest mistake people make in trading Rinkos, they don't size the bricks accordingly. And I'll just show you, we have a tool for that. And it's called the brick size calculator. We plug in our futures, and if we want to trade intraday, it tells us what size bricks we should be using. A daily swing trader, what size bricks or range bars. Or an investor level. Price charts are fantastic, but they're not used properly. I got to go take a lunch with Susie. I'm going to let you watch. We're having a nice afternoon on the radar. Think of your questions, visit the website, and I'll be back in a little bit and I'll answer your questions. And if there's nobody here, we'll sign off. We don't do these YouTubes to hand out the fish, right? We come on middle of the day, usually Monday, Wednesday, or Friday. We came in. We can do it periodically. We're doing it to create some awareness. We know what's out there. You know what's out there. We don't, there's nobody doing what we're doing. We know that. We'll let you watch. Okay, everybody. We're still selling down. So let's mark this up together. Thanks for the questions, and a lot of folks still here. We'll take a peek. Let's take a look at the VIX, right? We come in here and we can put this on, and the VIX went long at 10:10. Hey, hold on. Sorry about that. We have a 4-year-old golden retriever, and we have a 1-year-old female who just turned 1, and he's trying to raise a family. we don't have the female. We don't have either one of them fixed yet. We don't want pups, but we wanted to give the female a chance to grow up a little bit. Constantly, they're the biggest friends here. So if you hear me yell, she's just as worse than him. She's mounting him. God almighty. All right. The beautiful dogs. All right, so let's take a look at the ES. So at 10:10, what a coinky dink. How much money did you need? About $1,800 in margin. You're up 2,700, not 1%. You're up 100%, right? That's why we don't use percentages to keep track of our performance. We use profit factor. Look at this one, 10:10. How much money did you need in your account? Let's just call it $2,000. You're up from 2,000 to 6,000. Isn't that ridiculous? And we have folks hodling crypto, hoping it goes up, twofold, threefold. I don't know, but I mean, here's the Dow, 10 o'clock. Here's the Russell, not too long ago, 10 minutes of 1, less than an hour ago. Here's gold. Has nothing to do with that VIX. Gold has its own VIX, which we should probably track. And then oil is long. Now, this is running a specific program. We're just letting it run. There are 24 trading days in a month. If you pull out $100 a day, it's 2,400. Take Fridays off, it's 2,000. 200, 4,000. 300, 6,000. 500, 10,000. But you've got to do it over and over again, right? You got to have patience. You got to have discipline. You're not going to do this every single day. But look at the profits. Let's not count that. 2,700, 8,700, 10,000, 12, 13, $14,000 in profits. Your job is to get some of it to the boat and on a stringer and wait for tomorrow. So for like NQ, would you have sold your position when you took the 10:10 short alert? It's hard to hold that long intraday. Yeah. So what we're not able to show you on YouTube here is we can also look at charts, but we can also look at the models and know what is the average winning trade, the average losing trade over the last couple of weeks. Recent, what is the average run up? What is the average drawdown? And then using the technology to get your trades loaded in. What our members are not going to do, they're not going to let a $2,800 winner turn into a loser. It will get locked in. They're not going to let a $6,000 trade turn into a loser. It's going to be locked in. Now, if we have a member that took $500 here and then shut down his computer and went home, or went home left, that's fine. He made his $500 if that's what his mission is. You've got to define your mission, and we try to help you do that during the Q School. But because tomorrow's always another day, right? Again, $500 a day It's fine. It's 10 grand a month. Of course, I mean, this is, you get one of these days, a 6,000 is a beautiful thing. Now, do we get this every day? No. Do we get it every week? Absolutely. Absolutely see these types of trades every week, especially with this volatility. Normal volatility of the VIX is 18 to 22. We're not even at 18 yet. So it'd be very normal. But if you're learning bad habits, and that is making decisions, oh, I'm up so much money, I got to quit now, I got to do this, I got to do that, and you're a Biden moment. That's it. You're making decisions off the money that has to be unlearned and or shed. It's much easier to learn something the correct way from the beginning and not have to, get rid of a bad habit. Wall Street and Madison Avenue are one and the same. They want you, one, they don't want you doing this. Two, they want you money motivated so that you make decisions on your emotions, and they will carve you up. So last night's members got the heads up last night that this market was at an inflection point. Not 2 days ago. I mean, we're commenting around it, but it came in. The Nicholas Algo cautioned them last night. Now it may trip off and go short tonight. I don't know. I won't know until after the market closes and then opens for one tick. Then the signal will come in. At that point, I don't know what it's going to do. Another example of this. Oh, geez, Susie. Jeez. She put pants on my golden boy. He looks funny. Ted. She put shorts on him. That ain't fair. You put shorts on him, Susan. I better not. Oh, God. I better not laugh. I have to get a picture of that. Oh, that's not right. That's just not right. He looks funny. What she did was she took one of my t-shirts, put his back legs through the t-shirt, and then she got a big paper clip and she clipped it so it looks like he's got trousers. He does. Ted's wearing trousers. That's not right. And now and then the female is just won't leave him alone. She's probably going to take the t-shirt off. She's a bit of a floozy. Beautiful dogs. So we do use technology in a big way. What's a beautiful thing is we hopefully get you to a place where the machine is putting the trades in and out. I'm not trying to say that a robot is going to automatically make you money. We're not saying that, or that you're going to jump the shark, that you don't have to learn. What the robots are going to do, it's robot assisted trading. It's going to enable you to, take the dog out, go to the mailbox, go have a lunch, to relax a little bit. Learn to relax. It's supposed to be fun. It should be relaxing, and not get caught up, with the money. And the machine, has control of these trades. And then, if you want to come in and intervene, if I wanted to come up there and close that NQ for 4,200, I mean, if you wanted to do that, you could do that. I mean, you could. I'm going to let it run, but that makes sense. I hope so. He doesn't seem to notice that he's got trousers on. I don't think he's going to be happy about that. Yeah, he's going to pull that off, but we don't want pups. Although I think if we did, I think I'd probably want to keep them all. Let's go take a look at the Renko chart. So this is all we're doing. We just got a little pullback. We need to get after this one right here. We want to take that out. Be beautiful. We come back in here, then throw back, give ourselves plenty of time. Not to be a conspiracy guy, but do you think that maybe BlackRock, took a lot of the school teacher money and the IRA accounts and borrowed against it on some of their banking friends and juiced the markets for the political convention? Do you think they would do something like that? No, I don't think so. For just a few days. Now they can do that sort of thing for a few days. Anybody, it doesn't take much. Would they do it? Would they make up jobs numbers? No. A conspiracy. Did you see Google? They interviewed the Commerce Secretary for Magoo, President Magoo. And from Roadhog days, the guy who was blind and couldn't, he was always kind of walking around, Mr. Magoo. It's our nickname, Susan's nickname for him. Well, Mr. Magoo has a Secretary of the Commerce, and they asked her about the jobs number. She gave him what are you talking about? The woman says, well, the Bureau of Labor and Statistics downgraded the jobs number by 880,000 jobs. She goes, I don't know what you're talking about. I'm not familiar with that. Secretary of Commerce. She doesn't know what the she doesn't know what the Bureau of Labor and Statistics does. It doesn't matter anyways. I mean, it's all made up. But another DEI hire, full of them. The one saving grace of all this, though, politics aside, left or right, everybody likes making money. In fact, the Marxists really like it. Bernie, our Bernie Sanders, longtime Marxist. When he's from Vermont. When he was 30 years old, he was arrested for stealing his neighbor's electricity using an extension cord. And then he ran for the mayor of some small city in Vermont, and they elected him mayor. Now he's been in Congress for like 50 years. He owns 3 houses. He drives a high-end Mercedes, and they just Marxists just love other people's money. They're beautiful. They're beauties. We have them here. Our campuses are chock full. Don't get me started. I'm waiting. Any chance, I keep saying this, any chance that Harris is going to price fix how about the college costs? Price fix it at $10,000 a year, including room and board and 1 week spring vacation to any place between, the Northeast and Florida or the Caribbean. And let the Marxist professors and their deans, let them pay for it with lower salaries and more hours worked. How about that? Leave the grocery stores alone. Stop saddling young people with unconscionable debt for ridiculous, worthless degrees. They're not going to teach you this at Yale or Harvard, the hockey captain. We can talk macro babble if you want to. It doesn't have anything. We're a student of economics. Economics before 1945 was as junk science. It wasn't, you couldn't even major in it. It comes out of Princeton, and I still think it's a junk science, but we read up on it. We're aware of it. We don't invest or trade on it at all. No. It's a junk science, but I'm happy to chat with anybody about it. We won't do it today, but if ever you want to have a little economic chit chat and you want to forecast this or that, if you're honest with yourself, you should be able to say that the S&P is going to go to 10,000 or the S&P is going to go to 1,000. It could go either way. And they never get it right. Think of the dot-com crash in the 2000s. The dot-com, the NASDAQ went to 5,035. We had many, many more companies, much better place in the world. The Berlin Wall was coming down, Glasnost. We had, China was coming online. What a great time. And in 9 months, the NASDAQ went down 90%. Imagine that. Can you hear and see the wanging today if the markets went down 90% in 9 months? What would she do then? Who's she going to tax? Ain't going to be anything left but a Hulk. Be smoke and ruins. Do you know that if you look back 24 years ago, the economists, they can't agree on why that happened. So if they can't even agree in looking back 24 years, why that happened, don't think for a moment that these fools, especially the politicians, have any clue of what the hell's going on in here day in and day out. Is it rigged? Is it fixed? Is it? Yes, 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 yes. There's nobody more skeptical than me. But we just want to stay on the side that's rigged. That's all. And extract that cash flow. I just want to get my money out before the Obamas or the McCains or the Kennedys or any of them, the Bushies. They will move their money first. Pelosi's. That you can take to the bank. And they lie. The girl's name is Abby, the little girl Golden, and she's trying to take Ted's shorts off. Susan can't even separate the two of them to get his pants repositioned. I don't think it's going to work, Suze. Okay, it's pushing 2 o'clock, and I didn't expect to be on for more than an hour, so I don't want to overstay my welcome. I want to say thank you for stopping by. Be sure to visit the website. We don't really advertise to speak of. We don't. I don't know how you found us. Bit of a miracle. If you sign up as a monthly, what happens is I'll get notice right away. You'll get a welcoming video, and you'll get a password, and you'll be underway. And you'll get a nightly video every night of all. You're very welcome, Dinesh, of all of our algos and the tutorials that go with those algos. You don't get this view, you don't get into the Zoom room, but it's a good place to start. And in fact, the gentleman in Germany that I referred to, he was a monthly member for like 3 years. And I kind of joke about it because I called him once, like, you okay? It's like, yeah, I'm fine. Don't bother me, but I'm fine. I'm like, okay. And then like 3 years later, he called me back and, Don, it's David. I'm ready to join. I'm like, what? Who's David? And so he took his time, and that was like several years ago. So what happens is if you join as a monthly, you'll get a welcoming tutorial, you'll get a password, and you'll be underway at that level. If you have an interest in becoming an annual, you have to go through the Q school once. You do. We slow it down. And we would have to talk on the phone. We want to make sure it's a good match. We want to so think about it. Think about when you want to start, but don't assume that we can start immediately because we schedule these things weeks out, and we're doing them all the time. We usually start on a Monday. We don't do more than 2 people at once, not in the same thing. We have a separate Zoom, but it's always just you and me. So it's just two people, us, me and someone, but we don't do more than 2 a day. And but don't assume that we got your slot, and it's first come first serve. And for the last 3 years, we only issue a limited number of unlimited license, unlimited membership for the monthly, the annual we refer to as a license. It's kind of a subscription, and we only issue so many a year. In the last 3 years, we've had to cut that off on November 1. We're on pace to do that again this year. And then what happens is we just have to wait until January. And because we can only take on so many. There's work around it and setup and support and what have you. So when you're ready, let us know and we can schedule them, out, but it is first come, first serve. And if you go through the Q School, and you become an annual member, there's we rebate you back 30% of it, but maybe you finish the Q School and you say, you know what, Don, this isn't for me. I'm not going to do it. Well, then, you don't have to join. There's no, but if you come back later and join, there's no discount at that point, because you're going to have to work that much harder, and we will too, to get you back up to speed. But if you keep moving forward, I can count on less than one hand. Truly, there's only been 3 or 4 people max that haven't gone on to be an annual member. And all the years we've been doing this, only 3 or 4. And I think in each case, they kind of sold themselves short, but that's okay. It was what it was. But that's okay. So we deliberately slow it down to give you that chance to see what you need to see and experience. We will, if you have, and hopefully you have TradeStation, so then we can actually send you some of these programs. They're encrypted. We'll give you the instruction, day by day by day. You have a live Zoom feed, a separate one from this, where we're keeping an image up for you, encouraging you to do something each and every day. We're in contact with you. You're in contact with us. You're asking us real-time questions. I did this, I did that. And you're tracking your performance. All right. I'm going to wait a couple of minutes, and then we're going to need to sign off, and we'll see how the markets are closed. Now, if they come roaring back, just know that we will have seen it and we will act on it. So to that extent, do I know what's going to happen tomorrow? Do I know what's going to happen in the next hour or 2 hours? No. But if we get the right interval on and we get the right technology on, if the trade comes in at 3 o'clock in the morning, or 4 o'clock or 5 o'clock, and that's what we want, because see, we can also, like one person joined at a monthly level and he was very upset that I wasn't sending out alerts. We don't send out alerts, but as an annual member, you can write your own alerts, right? And we show you how to code them, and you can program any of these tools to send alerts to you. So you know where they're coming from, why they're coming, on what, and they go to your phone or you go to email, and then you can take action or not take action. So you write your own alerts. Thanks for stopping by. We'll wait if there's any other last minute questions.
My time flies, one step and we're on the moon. Next step into the stars. My time flies, maybe we could be there soon. A one-way ticket to Mars. My time flies, I have mine underneath the tree. go. Could be we step out again. Could be tomorrow, but then could be 2010.
Time, the most valuable commodity of all. You can't buy it, you can't sell it, but you can waste it. And we don't want you to waste any. So we wish everyone the best. And thanks for stopping by. Be sure to visit the site, email us any questions, and you're always welcome to call any day, including weekends, 9 a.m. to 9 p.m., 813-758-8263. Can't promise you an outcome, but I will promise you that you'll learn, for better or for worse. And you will not look at the markets the same ever again, for better or for worse. Have fun, everyone.